Now, for anyone wondering what kind of filter I'm going to be using on this, it's going to be this Fluval 404, which is pretty old. I got it with a 75-gallon tank that I ended up getting from a guy who was using it on a planted aquarium. However, I made the mistake of throwing out the hoses because the rubber pieces that were on here, they kind of like got dry rotted and I didn't trust them anymore, so I threw the entire hoses out. Come to find out the hoses are $18 for the hoses, and then all the accessories are $20 a piece unless you buy it in a kit, and the kit is $40, so you know it was $60 to get the filter back up and running. Those pieces are in the mail as well. But what I'm going to do is take this apart, put all this stuff into bags, all this filter media into bags, and I'm going to put them into the established tank. And let them basically cycle while I'm waiting for the dry start period to germinate the seeds in the other tank. Now, you know, I'm missing from here because I already have a bag in that filter over there. Now, I am going to keep these separated just because it's the kind of person I am. But I obviously didn't clean this before I put it away, so I'll have to go clean it. If anybody can tell me how this priming system works, I would be super thankful, because I have never gotten it to work. No matter what I try, even with the filter on and pre-priming the hoses, and using this literally does nothing. So if you have any idea, just let me know and it'd be super helpful. So thanks. For anyone wondering how this stuff goes together, I'll just go ahead and do a quick overview. So this little rubber piece, gotta make sure it's in there. It just goes on the end of this ceramic rod, which goes inside of the impeller. And then this sits down inside, and this goes on top. And then this piece you'll see this rod fits inside the knob here. Nub, I don't know what you call it, rubber nub, rubber nipple, something like that. So you have to make sure that's in there, otherwise the impeller will not spin. So that's that. These I'm going to go ahead and just reuse. I mean, they're not falling apart, and they're, you know, a synthetic material, so I'm not worried about them decaying or anything like that. That is what it looks like inside. this is the filter tray. So these just fit in here like that. The rounded side goes in like that. So it's gonna look like that when it's in there. The rounded side goes on the outside. Now these are just kind of shoved in the bottom. So the way canister filter is assembled is you have basically a little tower of sections, well, levels to a tower. And you fill each one with something different, or all the same, or whatever you'd like, because you can put this sponge filter in here, and then another sponge filter, which I had in here like this, just to catch any more debris, or, you know, it's a finer sponge material than this one in here. So this will filter it again. You can also get like a bag and put activated charcoal in here if you really want to clarify the water or like take particles out of the water. So then this goes on the bottom inside. You go in like this, rounded side out, and it just slides down to the bottom. Now, since I don't really have enough room in my tank, I put the one bag from earlier in there, but this second bag is too big to fit in the tank. It just takes up so much room in a 10-gallon to just set it in there that I'm just gonna pour it back in here, and all I did was clean it out. Now these are ceramic, so when the bacteria or water flows through, it has a lot of pores in there, so the bacteria can cling to it and grow. So it just makes a giant surface area for beneficial bacteria to start growing on. So that one just goes on top of the other one. And then these I'm going to leave empty because I don't have the material or the media from the other tank yet. So I'm going to keep these empty until I'm ready to go. So I'm just gonna assemble it. So if it was going together completely, this would go on top of the column there. So this can only go on one way because there's a notch here. And this notch goes into this recess. And then make sure nothing's on your gasket. You have an O-ring that runs all the way around the power head, they call it. And then it slides down. And you clamp it together. Now this is a pretty ingenious design to help not flood your home. So when you plug them in, this will lock into place, and then once it's in place, you can adjust this lever here to full, or you can shut it off. So these are both shut off from the filter. Now I can't remember. I believe this is actually shut off, and this would be full. But I haven't used this in so long, I forget. But the hoses would be attached on here, and you would screw this up to tighten it down, to clamp it. However, I obviously stated earlier that I don't have the hoses because I threw them out, but once they get here, I'll set everything up and we'll see where it goes. But I'm going to do a partial water change on the 10 gallon and then fill this with tank water that's already been cycled, and then I'll drain most of the tank water out of that 10 gallon and put it into the new tank. But apparently when you do the dry start method, the seeds, when they grow plants, they basically cycle the tank so fast that if there's any ammonia in the tank, it will convert it to or nitrogen, or I don't remember how it works, but I just know that any fish waste will be converted into edible plant food, and it'll be, I won't have ammonia spikes because the cycle of the plants that are already grown will be powerful enough to counteract it. But I'm going to be using cycled media from the tank, the filter from the tank that's established, the other bag of media that's in that tank, and I'm going to use tank water from it. So basically it's just going to enlarge the volume in the tank with the new one. Still be using the same colonies for any of the fish waste, and I'll do that and keep an eye on it by testing the waters for a couple of days, but it should be fine. I've done it before and had no issues. So for anyone that has an older model Fluval canister filter, the 404, I actually found this kit that works with it. This says it's for the 406 and 407. Here's the model number. 307 and 407, it works with the 306 and the 406. It also works with the older models, 404. Well, I know for sure it works with 404 because it's the right size, but this pack comes with replacement O-rings, the entire valve assembly shut off itself, the outtake, both the elbows, the full intake, and this was it was like $30. Ken's Fish Warehouse is where I got it, because I tried to buy pieces individually, and this was $21 plus shipping. This was $17 plus shipping. The elbows were $17 plus shipping. So it's, you know, why would I even bother with that when I could order this? And honestly, the shipping from Ken's Fish Warehouse came here in 3 days. Sometimes faster than Amazon Prime. But if you get that, get this thing as well. It's I actually got this one on Amazon, but same deal. Also works for the 404. I'm assuming it works for the 405 as well. But I don't have a 405 to test it with, so I know for sure this works. But if you get this kit and this, that's all you need. This is one hose, and you just split it in half, or, you know, cut it to whatever size you want, and then the hoses basically you just shove them into these rubber boots. If you really wanted to, you could, you know, put a little silicone in there, and you know, seal it that way if you're paranoid about it. But I've run them for years without doing that, so I think it's fine. But this was $16. The other whole kit, $30 plus shipping, $36. So that's a way better deal than buying pieces individually. So if anyone's looking for it, that's where you go, Ken's Fish Warehouse.